Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2022 album review, and today we're going to be looking into the new album from the band Allegaeon entitled Damnum, which is out now through Metal Blade Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Allegaeon, they're a technical death metal band from Colorado, been around since 2008. And Allegaeon, for me, I pretty much dig everything that these guys have done, and they're technically, their first couple albums were technically more of a, I keep saying technically a lot, were just straightforward tech death, but it wasn't until when they got their current vocalist, Riley McShane, they've added a lot more melodic elements, especially with the inclusion of clean vocals with their fourth full-length album, Proponia End of Sentience. And then they've definitely evolved since then, and they have like more melodic death metal, but also have hints of like progressive elements too with their last album, Apoptosis. And overall, this is the band's sixth full-length album, and this follows up their previous album, which came out in 2019, Apoptosis. And does this live up or exceed what Apoptosis has with Damnum? In my opinion, I think it definitely has. I think with every album Allegaeon has, it's just a next evolution in their sound. It's not like a direct follow-up. They always like take like a different approach. One thing to note, the production on this album is really fucking great. Like everything, I think Allegaeon always has great production. And let's talk about like the vocal work from Riley McShane. Riley McShane's vocals, I think, really shine a lot on this album. He does like the typical screaming, like death growls. Like when he goes, those little gutturals are like, god damn, they're fucking sick. And then when he goes into the clean singing, it's just really powerful and has like a very catchiness, kind of epic vibe to it, and I just fucking love that. The guitar work on this album is tight. Greg Burgess and Michael Stansel will come up with some really great riffs, and just the soloing and shredding on here is great. Bass-wise on this album, I think it's pretty audible. Brandon Michael, or some people call him Boo Money, and he just really does a great job on the bass. And drumming wise, this is the first album with their new drummer Jeff Saltzman after Brandon Park left the band in 2020, and Jeff Saltzman does a really great job filling in the shoes of Brandon. He definitely adds like something new rhythmically to Allegaeon that they definitely have. So it's really tight. So without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is Bastards of the Earth. Now, right from the get-go, it immediately gives us the impression that the band is just holding nothing back, and it sides between just brutal mid-tempo riffs to almost kind of like a blackened speed that just hits you in your face in a million miles an hour. And Riley's range in this goes for the extreme areas, which complements the band's like diversity, from the low guttural roars to scream to like pretty much everything between. And I think it's a really great way to start this album off. And then we get to the next song on the album called Of Beast and Worms. Now, Riley unleashes like harsh vocals and really just goes fucking low, lower than my own self-esteem to say. And then it just switches to the perfect clean vocals. And I just think it's really amazing how he could just go from growls to like clean singing just like that. And then the song kicks in with great guitars and drums, and the verses are really heavy, and the chorus in this song is really catchy, and blast beats sort of like keeping up the momentum and pretty much the tempo. Next song on the album is called Into Embers. Now, this song absolutely crushes. Riley's vocals here are epic, and I'm loving like the progression into like the cleans, and the singing at the end is really beautiful, and Jeff is killing it on the drums. Next up is To Carry My Grief Through Torpor and Silence. Really long song name, and this song is full of brutality and really great technicalities, full of growls and pretty much speed in the drumming. And although past halfway through the song we get some melodies which almost sound kind of like a flamenco, and this is apparent with the Spanish guitars that are just really just suits like such aggressiveness here. Vermin. Now, this piece kind of sounds very deathcore like, but at times it also becomes very melodic despite the rotten voices. And it can almost kind of remind you of something from like Lamb of God, but then the middle of the album, and then we find the longest song in this work. Moving on to Calling Home. Not Calling Home. Called Home. I can't even fucking speak today. Called Home. It starts off with some acoustic guitars, and it feels like you've heard this before, but you can't really compare it to. And it's a really sort of like a formula showcases, and it creates sort of like a kind of like a bleak vibe, and then it kicks right in and just goes all angry, and just sick drumming from start to finish, and it has kind of like that melodic shift, and it moves vocally and lyrically, and the piano and the bridge of this song just sounds very melancholic. Then we get to Blight, and this without a doubt demonstrates the great virtuosity in the drums and everything else. And I just love like the juicy solos that Greg offers, especially in this whole album of Damnum. And they also hear a little bit of keyboards here, and there's like a piano that merges with so much of the guitars that gives us the touches. In my opinion, one of the favorite songs on the album. Then we get to a two-parter song, which is the Dopamine Void Part 1 and 2. Now, Part 1 of this starts off very slow with sort of acoustic guitars and melodic sounding, and it also gives it a very melancholic vibe, and then it goes into Part 2. Now, it just flies away with just like the speed, lightness, and fingers, and just the sick vocals altogether. Then we move on to Saturning. Now, this is probably one of the stronger songs on the album, and it has some epic melodies that will just send chills down your spine, and not to mention sort of like the great guitar interplay. And it's one of those songs that you just can't stay still while listening to. Then we go to In Morning, which is a little instrumental outro, which is nothing really to say about it. And then we get to the last song on the album called Only Lost. Now, this shows a great vocal range from Riley and how incredible he is from start to finish. And it's a beautiful way to end the album. And it has sort of like a controlled chaos, but just sick vocals altogether. Now, overall, Damnum by Allegaeon, another great addition to their discography. So if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give the new Allegaeon album, Damnum, a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the new Allegaeon, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about them, and if anybody's going to see them in Atlanta on March 1st with Omnium Gatherium and Black Crown Initiate, I will be there. Come say hey. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it metal.